Hi everyone, thank you so much for clicking this video. If you're a returning subscriber, thank you so much for sticking with me, and if you're new, you're welcome. In today's tutorial, I will be creating the bubu that you saw on the thumbnail. For the bubu, I'll be needing about 4 yards of fabric, so I divided the 4 yards of fabric into two, so I have 2 yards each. This is 2 yards placed on my fabric, so I'm going to start from the front. So the first thing I did was to fold the 2 yards into two. Now I'll take my ruler, then rule a margin at the top edge of the fabric. The method I'm going to use to make this bubu is going to be more of freehand. I'm going to first measure the width of the neck. I want it to be 4 inches in width. Then after that, I'm going to measure 3 inches from the center fold, 3 inches, so that the shoulder will not gape after sewing. All right, so now I'm going to impute the shoulder measurement. So from the center front, I'm going to divide the shoulder measurement by 2, which is 7.5. So now I'm going to put the sleeve. The sleeve I'm working with is like 19, but I don't have up to 19 here, so I'm going to just use the remaining. I can only get 15.5. So from the shoulder point, I'll mark 15.5. So I'm using everything I have here, so I'll just mark it like so. All right, so from this point now, I'm going to mark 2 inches downward, 2 inches downward. Okay, I'm going to connect this to the 3 inches in at the neck, 3 inches at the neck. But first I'll square this line straight down, so I'll know where I'm connecting it. Okay, so now I'm going to connect from the 15.5 straight to the 3 inches at the width of the neck. The next thing now is to mark the length of the neck, that is the depth of the neckline. So in this case, I'm going to use 8.5. You are free to use whatever length you want. Well, I'll mark it and have like so. Then I'll also mark it at 5 inches from the shoulder, 5 inches here. Okay, then on the 5 inches, I'm going to take 3 inches on the width side. It will assist in shaping the neckline. On the 5 inches, I'm going to square a line like so. Then at the side also, I'll square a line. All right, okay, then I'm going to use my freehand to curve it to connect to the 8.5 inch down the length. Just curve it. You can use your curvy part of the ruler, but I'm using my hand. I'll just eyeball it. So this is the front neck. Now I'm going to mark the shoulder to waist measurement. So the shoulder to waist measurement is 17 inches. So I'll take it from the shoulder. That's the first margin I drew. Okay, I'll mark 17 like so. Then from the 17, I'll take the hip length, which is 9 inches. I'll mark it like so. Then I'll come to the center front here. I'll take the 17, then 9 inches hip length. I'll mark it. The next thing is to divide the hip by 4. I'm going to divide the hip measurement by 4. So then I'll mark it here on the hip line. Put my mark. Okay, then I'm going to add 2 inches. It depends on how wide you want it. You can use 1.5, but in this case I'm adding 2 inches. So I'll mark it. Then the seam allowance can be between 1 and 1.5. Okay, this is 1. Okay, well, let me use 1.5. So I'm going to mark 1.5 like so. All right, then I'll measure the overall measurement, whatever I have. I'm going to come to the upper part here. I'm going to retake what I have. Then I'll go down also. I'll mark the same measurement. I'll just put a mark like so. For the sleeve opening, I'm going to mark 8.5 down from the slope. Okay, then I'm going to square the measurement I have on the waist and the hip. I'll square it up. Okay, then I'll connect it to the 8.5. All right, then at the underarm, I'm going to curve it. Just draw a small curve. At this point, the sleeve opening is looking small, so I'm going to extend it down. Instead of the 8.5, I'll take 10 inches. That means I'm adding 1.5 to it. So I'll just mark 10 inches down. All right, then I'll square the line. Okay, then I'll reshape the underarm. I want to take the full length measurement, but because my table is small, so what I'll do is I'll first measure from the shoulder. I'll measure down to the hip. Okay, so I have 26. Then I'm going to shift my fabric up. I will raise my taper up by 26, then extend it to 31 from the hip line. I'm marking 31. All right, so I'm going to push the fabric up like so. Then I'll start the measurement from 31 inches. I'll put my tape rule on 31. All right, the full measurement I'm working with is 62 and a half, then plus 1.5 for hem at the bottom, so total will be 64. So I'm going to mark 64 inches now. I hope you understand the way I'm doing the math. So this is the 64, then here at the center, here I'm going to mark 64. On the 64 inches, I'm going to square a line. Okay, then I'm going to mark the measurement I have on the hip. That's the overall measurement on the hip line. I'm going to measure it here at the hem. Then I'll connect it up. So we're done with the marking of the front, so I'll just cut the shape out. Here it is cut out, so I'm placing it on the remaining 2 yards to cut the back. The front neck side is still intact, so what I'm going to do now is just to mark the back neckline on it. So from the top here, I'll just mark 1. You can mark 1.5, it depends on you. Right, then I'm going to connect it to the width of the front neck. Just square a line like so, then I'll curve it a little. Right, so now is to cut everything out. So the first thing I'm going to do is to trace the neck out, then I'll trace the body also out. Alright, so it's cut out. So now the front neckline, I'll just raise it up like so, then I'll trace it out. Okay, so here I have it. I have the front and I have the back. Alright, so I have my satin here, which I'm going to use to cut the design at the neck area down the center front. So I'll just fold it into two. After folding the satin, so what I'll do, I'll just take the front part of the bubu now, I'll place it, I'll set the center to center, then the neck area, I'm going to set it like this, then I'm going to trace the shape out. Alright, so I'm going to trace out the neck, I'll trace it out, then come to the shoulder, I'm going to trace it out a bit, like 5 inches or a little more than 5 inches, then I'll stop, then I'll go to the hem. Because that the design is getting down to the hemline. So I'll go to the hem, then I'll just cut it like 5 to 7 inches. Right, then I'll remove the fabric from it. Now I'm going to measure about 5 inches around the neck area and the center front. It depends on how wide you want it. You can make it 7, but here I'm marking 5 inches. I will connect all the dots, then I will cut out. So here is the back. Okay, I folded my satin into two just like I did to the front. So I'm placing the neck area of the back onto the satin. I'm aligning the folded area together. So now I'll just trace out the neck, trace the neck area, then the shoulder slope, just cut it like 5 to 7 inches. Alright, then I'll remove the main fabric, then trace round the neck area by 5 inches, just the same way I did to the front. But in this case, this one is not going to be as long as the front, just the neck area, 5 inches. So here I have the satin. I iron it facing on the wrong side so it will hold well. Okay. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to place the back on the front, then I'll stitch it on half an inch at the shoulders. Then I'll take the main fabric also. I'm going to stitch half an inch on the shoulders. Here I have the shoulder stitch. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to place the right side of the satin on the wrong side of the main fabric like so. Then I'm going to stitch it at the neck area. I'm going to open the shoulder flat. You can iron it before stitching. I'll just stitch around like so. Then I'll be right back. Here I'm done stitching and I turn it inside out. Okay, so this is the right side of the main fabric now. Then I went ahead and reduced the neck area by, I reduced it to 3.5 inch inside of the 5. You can leave it, but I just want it to be smaller. So now I'm going to fold it at the edge by half an inch. Then I'll stitch it round straight down to the hem. Then I'm going to cut fabric for the sleeve area. So here I have the strip for the sleeve. I have 6 inches in length. I have two pieces, all right, that I'm going to use for the sleeve. So I'll just remove it now. I'm going to place it on the sleeve area. I'm going to place the right side facing the wrong side. Hope you understand. Okay, this is the right side of the satin. Then I'm placing the wrong side of the fabric. Then I'll stitch it on half. Then I'll bring the edge like so. Then I'm going to fold it by half an inch at the edge. Then I'm going to stitch it down. Then I'll do the same to the other side of the sleeve also. So I'm done stitching the neck area. All right, so now just like I explained earlier, I went ahead and stitched the sleeve, the facing to the sleeve, right side facing the wrong side. I stitch on half an inch. So then I went ahead and iron the edge by half an inch. So I'm going to place it like so. I'm going to push the seam inside. I hope you can see well. Then place it on it like so. Then stitch very close to the edge. Then I'll do the same to the other sleeve. Then after that, I'm going to turn right to the wrong side like so. Then I'm going to stitch from the underarm. That's the sleeve area. The underarm of the sleeve. I'm going to stitch on half an inch or 1 inch. I think I left 1 inch, so I'm going to stitch on 1 inch. Then straight down, I'm going to leave opening. It depends on how you want your slit to be. In this case, I'm going to leave about 19 to 20. I'm done stitching the sides. Then I went ahead and overlocked the edges for neat finishing. Then the slit, I'm going to roll it like twice, then stitch it down. Okay, then I'll come to the hem. I'll fold on 1.5 like so, iron then the edge by half an inch, then I'll stitch down. And here is the outcome. Thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to support me by subscribing, give it a thumbs up and also hit the notification bell. Till I come your way again, bye for now.